Welcome to Momentum Monday. Today is July 16th, 2023. Howard, how was the weekend?
Really warm here. Are you noticing the heat?
I mean, it's warm, but from what I read, how much warmer it is in other places, there's nothing really to complain about San Diego.
No, it's nice. I was did my triathlon today, bike run, golf.
Oh, great.
Jewish triathlon.
Are you exhausted? The Jewish triathlon.
So tired. So tired. What about you? Did you do anything? Are you doing that?
I just played some volleyball and just a workout. That's it.
All right.
Nothing fancy as you, but
Yeah. I'm trying to pack it all in my last 10 years on Earth. I'm in the latter ages. This could be my last show at my age. You never know.
Well, if you're doing a triathlon, I'm not so sure about it. Okay.
All right.
So let's go back to the markets. Last week the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, the PPI, the Producers Price Index, they continue to come down, and they come down below expectations. Inflation is back to 3%. And the market has been expecting that. That's why so many stocks, especially tech stocks, have been rising year to date. Last week, we saw acceleration in that after those reports continue to show reducing inflation expectations. We saw a significant increase in market breadth. Small caps, micro caps are trying to catch up with large caps. Big rally in the Russell 2000. A lot of new 52-week highs. Obviously, the usual suspect. Travel has been really strong. Anything related to travel, airlines.
They pulled back a little bit. But
yeah, I mean, towards the end of the week, we saw sector rotation towards more defensive sectors like healthcare and consumer staples. This is normal. Bull market correct through sector rotation. And this is exactly what we've been seeing so far. Every time when we see a little bit of frothiness in the market. I mean, last week, at some point, we saw even stocks like Nikola, which is probably a bankrupt company, rallying like what, 50%.
I mean, Carvana has got to be the story of the year.
Carvana, at some point, they're up more than 800% year to date. And you all know that last week.
It's funny because everybody keeps talking about 5 stocks, and it's like, yeah, maybe it's 10 stocks on the index side, but underneath there's hundreds of stocks that have been 200-300% gainers. Look at this beverage company, CELA.
Oh, Celsius, yeah. I mean, unbelievable story.
Basically, this thing is just pure rock cocaine and caffeine and which is why liquid debt. This is a $3 stock, but people keep saying it's a bear market, and that the puck has just moved.
Times, yeah.
The puck just moved to other things. Like I was, Liquid Death filed for an IPO, and I'm an investor in that company, and it's to do maybe 200 to 300 million in sales next year, the year after. But they went from 40 to 120 million. Guess why they want to go public? Because of this thing, Celsius Holdings. So it's like, it's looking over at the cloud, and there's nothing wrong with it. By the way, DigitalOcean looked interesting on the cloud side. TOC.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's.
But again, it's coming out of such. So it's basically back above its eye. Well, I had a bad day Friday, but yeah,
almost everything risky high beta had a bad day on Friday. Just there was a lot of profit taking on Friday.
Yeah,
so normal. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of profit taking. Earnings are coming up. They may sell into. I mean, it's been such a good run, and you're starting to hear people start to finally call the bottom, when the bottom kind of happened summer of last year. I mean, it didn't look good, but
October, yeah.
You're kind of a year into the recovery. Now they're saying soft landing. So it wouldn't surprise me to see a pullback. But look, Google looked good. Shopify looked good. I'm long Shopify.
All of the stocks that have been lagging, they're starting to catch up, which is exactly what you see in a bull market. Every single setup eventually breaks out. So even Google.
Yeah, I mean, it's the underperformer of all the FANGs, and now it's.
Yeah, even AMD, even they try to catch up. Obviously, nothing close to what NVIDIA has done, up 200% in the past year. It's just incredible growth. Oh, almost over $1 trillion company already, and it's the biggest.
They hit a trillion, yeah.
Oh, just a few weeks ago, it's the biggest growth story for the past 10 years. It's up 130 times in the past 10 years. NVIDIA. It used to
More
be
than Tesla? Is that more than Tesla?
a lot more than Tesla. Tesla is up only 30 times, and AMD in the past 10 years. NVIDIA 130 times, and then Apple only 10 times, just to compare. Like NVIDIA definitely the biggest grower in the past decade. Incredible. Just like Monster Energy used to be in the previous decade, you know, the early 2000s, they had that huge growth story here.
Yes, the beverage continues to be, I was saying Shopify looked good too. It broke out above 70.
Oh yeah, definitely. Shopify,
But
they
again,
came out with that big new AI assistant that they're promoting. Everyone is building something related to AI, and the market is just reacting. And definitely a high volume breakout last week. And you can see on the weekly that the stock's going up on really big volume, pulling back on low volume. So this is constructive price action.
But look at all that distribution in like 22, early 22, preceding the fall.
Anything tech last year when the market was worrying about rising interest rates was really slammed. I mean, even Tesla went from 400 to 100. People forget that 75% drop. Now it's back to almost new 52-week highs.
I don't think it'll be as easy now as it was. You know, you got interest rates high. You still have the war going on. So I don't think it'll be as easy as, you know, the people that took risk and really were good tape readers have had a good run. But the law of large numbers are going to catch up to a lot of this stuff, and oil prices are still high. So I just think it's a good stock pickers market. There's a lot going on with rotation and stuff. Yeah,
I mean, rotation is definitely is keeping it interesting. There's something going on every day. Even on Friday, when most stocks sold off, we had, you know, some significant high volume breakouts like this one in biotech.
What does that look like? Was there news there?
I'm not sure. I think there was some type of news. Yeah, big volume breakout. This is typically how longer term.
You talked about INMD kind of broke out.
Yeah, INMD, they tried to break out, didn't hold it on Friday. We'll see if they catch up. This is now in biotech.
Yeah, that looks good too.
ARCT breaking up. So iSurgical, I mean, on Friday, I think UNH reported United Health. And they said, you know, obviously the outpatient procedures are rising very quickly post-COVID, and anything really related to healthcare, to medical instruments, medical supplies, was up on Friday, which is relative strength compared to everything else, like iSurgical and RMD. Like they definitely outperformed on Friday. So that's why I'm saying that there is a constant rotation, even when you see the current leaders pulling back 10, 20, 30%. There's money is just rotating into other names, other sectors.
That's awesome. Okay, well, again, the earnings start this week. So what, banks lead it off?
They just started on Friday with JPM. Obviously, expectations are very high. A lot of stocks have gone up ahead of earnings, and it's very possible. And all the banks, they crushed earnings estimates. And what we saw is a gap up and then a sell-off, just because there was a lot of profit taking. This is very normal to see when the stocks have been going up in anticipation, and it's basically kind of sell the news event in many cases. So I wouldn't be surprised to see more of that, which would be the opposite of what we saw in the past 2 quarters, when a lot of companies would miss estimates, would report negative growth. They would gap down, and that would be basically the bottom. They would just recover and make new highs. This is exactly what Meta did last year in February. They gapped down, worst quarter in their history, sold off for a few more days. That was the bottom, and then from there they had an insane recovery. So pay attention this quarter to the opposite. Companies that have been really rising a lot are gapping up after beating estimates and then selling off. obviously that would be a huge change of market sentiment if it happens, but so far we're seeing it in banks and it's still very early. Let's see if the same thing happens in tech, or we will just see an acceleration, which is also possible to the upside.
Yeah, I mean, Netflix, you got the writers. I mean, what a run it had. You've got the writer strike, you've got the actor strike. Like, honestly, like I sold some. Like, if you look at Netflix, you're coming right into like massive resistance off an incredible run that no one would think. And honestly, there's nothing to watch over there. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not super. I hope I'm wrong, but I mean, they're dominant, like once this is all settled, but this strike could go on a lot longer, and the content that's out there right now is pretty thin. So I think there's a lot of people juiced up and chasing here. So I think, I wouldn't be surprised with a week or two of pullbacks, but I'm not shorting anything. I'm just
I mean, a lot of chasing, but you don't need to short to make money in this market.
Yeah, but when you start seeing Cardano up 800% and like Nicola,
Beyond Meat, when those names start to rally, that's usually a rug pull, and we kind of saw it on Friday when there was a pretty steep reversal in most of the momentum names, and obviously anything crypto related has been super hot. It's been leading year to date.
Well, everybody's just looking for the little bit of good news. Like, since Ripple's not going to lead us out of hell, and the miners have already doubled. So these are all highly leveraged.
They've done a lot more than doubling. However, year to date, they're up like, I don't know, 5 times, 400%.
People chasing here is just, I don't know, cyclical kind of boom bust play. But hats off to this. Hats off to this guy. MicroStrategy has leveraged himself to one thing.
And it's working, yeah.
Working. All right, my man. Have a great week, everybody.
All right. See you next week, man.